Dati, fiat lang ang pwedeng makabili dito. Dollars, no? Or USDC na lang, sabihin natin. Ngayon, you can buy with crypto na dito. Then, pati yung flow tokens, you can buy na also. In partnership with BNPH, let's explore this flow blockchain at mga project na involved dito. Hi guys, I'm John aka Soral. Welcome to your YouTube channel for your NFT Play-Toy reviews. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Kaya, let's go! First of all, no, shout out dito sa Blockchain Network Philippines, no, to make this possible, itong partnership with Flow. So ito yung Flow, hindi na po ako bago dito. This is the blockchain kung saan nabibilang itong NBA Top Shot na, as you all know, this is one of my NFTs, no, at mga na-feature ko sa channel na nag-uumpisa pa lang tayo, kaya di na bago dito sa Flow blockchain na ito. Ang maganda dito, you can start building. Kung ikaw ay developer, pwede nyo i-click ito. If you are looking to build, no, your NFT games also, no, you can check Flow kasi nandito, no. And as per them, developer first experience ito. New easy to learn programming language designed for dApps and digital assets. Tapos may Flow client library, upgradable smart contracts, and fast and deterministic finality. Ayan, so you can check Flow for that also. Pero tayo, na simpleng tao lang, no? Alam naman natin at kilala na rin natin itong Flow. So, they're the home of one of the pioneers sa NFT world, no? Particularly NFT game, CryptoKitties. Then ito nga, NBA Top Shot. At ngayon, no, meron silang UFC, which is mamaya dadaanan natin. Pumasok na rin po dito sa Flow blockchain na ito. Also, Ubisoft, Samsung, Animoca Brands, Warner Music Group, then La Liga, ito mga football to, pati American football, nandito rin NFL. So this is a consumer-friendly onboarding daw, no? Mainstream-ready experience. Kasi most likely, yung mga target nila is crypto traders and sports fans alike, no? Just like me. And human-readable security, smart user contracts, then incentives for early adopters, no? Kasi magkakaroon sila ng TGE balang araw na kanilang Flow tokens. At a green Web3 network to dahil wala silang sharding. Yun ang kanilang pinagmamalaki or layer 2. So para sa kanila, sila daw ang pinakamalinis na environmental friendly Web3 network among leading platforms. So what do we mean by no sharding? Ibig sabihin lang ito, sharding and layer 2 solutions break composability and reduce network effects, no? Kumbaga less lags for dApps and smart contracts by removing ACID guarantees from the execution environment. So madami pa tayong makikita dito sa technical details. So very transparent naman sila dito sa kanilang project or this blockchain as well. So pwede kang mag-build dito ng Web3 application, NFTs, gaming metaverse, or even DeFi na pwede daw gawin dito. So may mga testimonials dito na pwede nyo rin i-check. Then medyo madami ka lang Flow community. Siyempre nandiyan yung mga NFT games, pati NFT na arts, no? Pero hindi lang po yun. This is also backed up by Binance. So yan. So iba't iba pa, pati yung mga backers sila medyo mabibigat, no, ng mga VCs and investors on this blockchain. So kung gusto yung makita, no, additional mga projects, NFT drops, no, pwede yung tingnan to flowverse.co, nandyan lahat, no. Pati mga ranking, yan, may ranking sila by Graphol. Syempre number 1 pa rin, no, yung NBA Top Shot dito sa Flow blockchain. Then so and so forth, UFC Strike, Matrix World. Tapos may mga NFT games din dito na medyo kilala ko, like Chain Monsters. Ayan, mga nare-research din natin itong NFT game. Tapos sa Flow token economics nila, no. So tatlo yung pinagyayabang nila, no. Diverse use cases, broad distribution, pati low monetary inflation. Sa diverse use cases, ito ang ating nakita sa kanila, no, based on their tokenomics, no. Para sa kanila, payment for computation and validation services, no, medyo may improve. This is a medium for exchange, deposit for data storage, collateral for secondary tokens, pati participation syempre in governance, because di lang to utility but also a governance token as well. So mga large scale engagement programs naman sa broad distribution nila is yung Cloudburst Partners, Floodplain Validators, pati yung DRIP o yung Decentralized Reputation and Incentive Protocol. Then low monetary inflation nga po ito. So may mga validator nodes to. Actually nandito yan lahat sa kanilang about Flow. Yan yung mga technical papers. So you can check pa yung mga additional details about that. At yung favorite yun, no, token distribution. If ever na magre-release ito, saan ba mapupunta, no, yung mga distributed na tokens na ito. So meron silang 3 phases. Yung beta, mainnet, live. Actually, itong mainnet na to is nag-umpisa noong May 15, 2020, no, via NBA Top Shot. Pero, nung June 15, they invited the first cohort of beta tester in NBA Top Shot. At nakita ko recently, no, pagpupunta ko dito sa marketplace nila. Kunwari, bibili tayo, si Kyrie Irving. Dati, fiat lang ang pwedeng makabili dito. Dollars, no, or USDC na lang, sabihin natin. Ngayon, pwede nang via Ethereum. Ayan, no. You can buy with crypto na dito. Then, pati yung flow tokens, you can buy na also. Ayan, so yan. Pwede na tayo makabili, no, ng NBA moments via that flow tokens as well. So, on paste to the TGE. So, makikita natin dito yung distribution. 20% Dapper Labs. So, Dapper Labs is one na nag-fund ang development itong flow tokens. Kaya kung titignan dito sa may taas, di ba nakalagay My Dapper Wallet. Sila po yan, Dapper Labs. Then, large backer, 11.1%. Small backers, 8.9%. Development team, 18%. Then, for ecosystem development, 29%. And community sales, no, 13% lang po. Since lumalaki na sila, no, even UFC pumasok ka, nabanggit ko kanina. Okay? So, nakakaroon sila ng mga pack na rin dito. Parang NBA Top Shot, no? May mga moments. So, dito, ganun din. Yung mga highlights ng mga laban, nilalagay na rin sa NFT as well. So, nabalita ngayon sa CoinDesk na they joined NBA and NFL in Dapper Labs Sport NFT Suite. Ito yung website na ufcstrike.com at yung release one nila sold out. $50 lang, around 2,500 pesos makakuha ka na ng fully loaded pack ng UFC. So, hindi ko lang masyado ma-scroll ito because maybe I will have some copyright issue. Pero yan, nakikita nyo mga paa. Yan. So, yan yung makukuha nyo dito. Ito yung mga pack info niya. So, swerte pala, no? Sayang, hindi natin tayo nakabili nito. Pero we can expect magkakaroon ito ng release 2. Ayan. So, each pack includes 3 UFC Strike Moments NFT. At nandito yung mga full list of moments ng UFC Strike na ito at bibili ko ito balang araw pag nandiyan yung mga old school na kilala natin. Sila Chuck Liddell, pati si Wanderlei Silva. Iyan, yung mga favorite natin na pagkahalataan ng edad. So that's a quick overview ng Flow Blockchain, no? Yung website nila onflow.org. Yung Twitter na flow_blockchain. Tapos nandito naman sa baba yung mga social sila like Discord, Telegram, GitHub, pati YouTube, no? Follow nyo na rin sila para makabalita kayo kung ano yung mga latest game updates, latest NFT sports ng mga moments, no? At syempre, hindi nyo ma-miss out yung mga ganon. As always, guys, no? Do sa bibili ng token nito or sa mga projects involved sa Flow Blockchain, always remember to risk ka naman that you can afford to lose lang. And also, enjoy lang natin lahat ng makukuha nating NFTs dito. So, what do you think, guys? Comment down below, but don't forget to like, share, subscribe hanggang sa muli guys. Babu!